Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are wrestling with, wow, a truly incredible stack of source material.
It really is.
It draws this straight line between millennia-old spiritual wisdom and the absolute cutting edge of modern physics.
Mm.
So we're going to dive deep into Sanathan Dharma, often known as Hinduism, and its really profound alignment with concepts coming out of quantum mechanics.
It is a remarkable convergence, and our focus today really is analyzing this central claim from the ancient teachings.
Which is?
That consciousness isn't just a feature of, a complex brain. It's a fundamental property of the universe itself. It's resident in all existence.
Right. Which sounds a lot like panpsychism, this idea that the whole universe is intrinsically conscious.
Exactly. The sources suggest a universe that is just, at its core, interconnected and aware.
Okay, let's unpack this core structure then. I mean, if we're claiming a parallel between ancient wisdom and modern physics, we have to start at the source.
We do.
What is it about Sanathan Dharma that makes this really radical quantum comparison even possible?
Well, it all hinges on the concept of non-dualism, or Advaita Vedanta.
Okay.
Most spiritual paths, they teach a connection between the individual and the divine. But Advaita teaches identity.
Identity, not connection.
Identity. The ultimate reality is Brahman, the absolute essence of the universe. And the core teaching is that the individual self, the Atman, is one and the same with Brahman.
Wow. Okay. I hear the idea of unity, but identity. The individual self is the cosmic whole. That's a huge statement.
It is.
It sounds like the obliteration of the separate self. I mean, in a world where we all feel so profoundly separate, how do the ancient sources even justify that?
That perceived separation is referred to as Maya.
Illusion.
The illusion, yes. The sources explain that all the complexity we see, the forms, time, space, it's all temporary manifestations. The identity, that core identity, remains constant.
Okay, so give me an analogy.
The analogy often used is that an individual wave is still fundamentally the ocean. And the deities we see, Vishnu, Shiva, Lakshmi, they're the ways this infinite, formless Brahman is made accessible to us.
So the huge pantheon of deities, they serve a kind of pedagogical purpose.
You could say that, yes.
They're aspects or cosmic principles or forces of nature, but they all funnel back to the one singular reality.
Precisely. It offers a personal, relatable path for individuals to approach the divine.
But the whole metaphysical structure underneath it all demands a unified, holistic understanding of the universe.
Exactly. The individual journey is deeply personal, but the destination, that union with Brahman, is universal. And this unity, this is what leads us directly to the profound scientific parallel.
And this is where the analysis of the source material gets, for me, really fascinating. The material claims Sanathan Dharma is close to quantum mechanics because it teaches that consciousness is resident in everything.
That's the critical nexus. Consciousness is not a human thing. It's the fabric of reality itself.
So you mean it's in the elements?
It's in the elements, it's in all the physical structures, and even in existence that we can't physically perceive.
And that idea that consciousness is an inherent feature of matter and energy. That's basically the definition of panpsychism.
It's the operational definition, yes.
What's really remarkable is how this ancient idea echoes the quantum mechanics notion that consciousness plays a role in shaping reality. Can you make that connection a bit more specific for us?
I can. We're moving beyond just philosophy now.
Right.
The profound alignment really rests on the observer effect.
Okay, the observer effect.
If, as quantum mechanics suggests, the state of a particle remains undefined, just a smear of probability, until consciousness intervenes through observation.
Then consciousness isn't just a passive witness.
It's an active co-creator. It has to be. And that mirrors the Advaita position that reality itself is a construct of that ultimate Brahman consciousness. The universe is inherently participatory.
So rather than seeing consciousness as this late-stage evolutionary fluke, this ancient framework suggests it's the foundational ingredient that makes the universe observable in the first place.
Exactly. And this is the deep insight we get from the sources, especially from teachings shared by Hanshi Deena Naidu, who explicitly connects this ancient framework to our modern scientific search for a unified theory.
So the universe isn't just matter.
It's a vast, interconnected, conscious entity that actually requires consciousness to define its own form.
Okay, so if the universe is built on consciousness, then the teachings must have some detail on how that consciousness operates, how it evolves.
They do.
And this brings us to what the texts call the very specific calculus of our spiritual journey. This isn't just abstract philosophy. It sounds like a detailed mechanism.
It is. It's like a spiritual taxonomy. It outlines the necessary steps for consciousness to gain self-awareness and agency.
And the starting point is always the same.
Always the same. Consciousness separates from the source to embody individual soul bodies, and it does so for the purpose of experience.
Let's slow this down a bit because this progression is incredibly detailed. Walk us through that first major leap. What does consciousness gain when it moves from a dormant state in, say, a rock?
In mineral life, yes.
To becoming awake and feeling as a group consciousness in plants.
The dormant phase, the rock life, that's static. It's foundational existent. There is consciousness, but no active awareness. It's just holding the structure.
Okay.
The leap to plant life introduces awareness and feeling. Plants have a group consciousness. They react. They follow life cycles, but they don't have individual decision-making beyond, what they need to grow.
So that stage is about establishing a sensitivity to the environment. What happens when it moves to insects? We're seeing a slow buildup of capabilities here.
With insects, consciousness becomes thinking and duty-bound. It operates as a collective consciousness.
Instinct-driven.
Mostly, yes. Okay. The being adheres strictly to its cosmic duty. Think of a worker bee or an ant colony. There's immense complexity and intelligence, but still very little individual agency or self-reflection.
They're fulfilling the structure's requirements without questioning it.
Exactly.
And then finally, the transition to animal life, which is the direct predecessor to human potential. The sources detail a really unique step here involving two animals.
That's right. The consciousness becomes active in two animals at the same time, but as part of the same soul consciousness.
Why? What's the purpose of that?
This dual phase is critical. It represents the integration of initial individual awareness. It's learning how to make personal choices before it finally merges into becoming one single animal.
I see. So the completed animal phase has the full spectrum of feeling, movement, individual purpose. It's ready for the final self-aware path.
It's ready.
It's a mechanism built on necessity and efficiency. So for you listening today, why is knowing this detailed spiritual calculus so transformative?
The source material is quite emphatic on this point. It says that grasping this specific, detailed process removes many lifetimes of learning through the process of reincarnation.
It's a shortcut.
In a way. The system of Samsara, reincarnation, it's essentially a vast information-gathering mechanism. By understanding the purpose and the stages of this evolution right now, you can potentially accelerate the spiritual development that would otherwise take countless cycles of trial and error.
That makes the framework incredibly practical. But, okay, consciousness evolution isn't the only structural element, right? This whole conscious universe must be governed by rules to prevent chaos.
Absolutely.
What other complex frameworks reinforce the unity and structure of the system?
You have to consider the twin pillars of governance. Karma and Dharma.
Karma and Dharma.
Karma provides accountability. It's the universal law that actions have consequences that influence future lives. It ensures accountability is maintained across that whole interconnected web of consciousness.
And how does Dharma fit in? If karma is cause and effect, what's the role of Dharma?
Dharma is the cosmic duty, the moral order. You can think of it as the template that tells the soul how to behave to maintain balance. If everything is interconnected, every single action has ripples. Dharma is the set of rules, the righteousness, that ensures the system stays in a harmonious order.
So they're not separate rules?
Not at all. They're two sides of the same coin of universal governance. Act justly, which is Dharma, and face the appropriate consequence, which is karma.
And all of this plays out within a unique perception of time, one that mirrors the endless cycling of consciousness itself.
Absolutely. Time isn't linear, it's cyclical. The universe operates through these ongoing cycles of creation, preservation, and destruction. They're known as yugas.
And that framework implies that the whole process of evolution and existence is never really finished.
It's constantly renewed. This cyclical nature just reinforces the infinite, eternal nature of Brahman.
And with all these cycles and all these rules, the ultimate goal, moksha liberation, that must also be attainable. How does the system ensure it's inclusive despite so much structure?
Well, it does that by recognizing the incredible diversity of, human temperament and disposition.
Yeah.
While the goal is singular union with Brahman, there are multiple recognized paths to get there.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all system.
Not in the slightest. Whether it's through the various forms of yoga, through knowledge, jnana, devotion, bhakti, action, karma, or self-discipline, Raja, the framework ensures that everyone, no matter their starting point, has a viable route to spiritual growth and ultimately liberation.
In short, what we've really uncovered in this deep dive is a rich, complex, and deeply inclusive spiritual architecture.
Hmm.
It not only defines a conscious reality that's supported by strict moral and cosmic laws, but it also roots itself in that non-dualistic unity of Brahman.
So what does this all mean for us today?
Yeah.
I think the core insight is the profound and frankly remarkable alignment between this ancient philosophical framework, this vast interconnected web where consciousness is primary, and the questions that modern science is wrestling with right now.
Questions about the universe's fundamental participatory nature.
Exactly. This suggests that this ancient wisdom didn't just propose a spiritual theory. It essentially anticipated modern understandings of reality, where consciousness is central to how matter even forms.
It moves the conversation beyond just spirituality and into the potential mechanics of existence itself.
Which leaves us with a final provocative thought for you, the listener. If ultimate reality is non-dual, as Advaita Vedanta teaches, and consciousness pervades everything you see and touch and interact with,
And given that Sanathan Dharma teaches there are multiple paths to liberation,
then what inherent non-physical knowledge do you already possess just by existing within this fundamentally interconnected conscious structure? What insights are already integrated into your Atman, just waiting to be fully realized?
something profound to consider as you observe the world around you. Thank you for joining us for the deep dive.